Hey, hello zForum. My name's Vic Cross. I'm part of IBM's Z acceleration team, and I'm here in Singapore instead of being able to be there at zForum with you. But I'm not going to let that get in the way of putting on a really good demo for you. I'm going to show you installing from a bare LPAR, starting from nothing, a ZVM system, OpenShift, and just how easy it is, fully automated and things like that. Now behind me here, I'm in the Jewel complex in Singapore's Changi Airport, and behind me, this is the rain vortex. And I'm not going to let you all get caught in the vortex of thinking that ZVM and OpenShift on Z and Linux 1 is too hard, right? So why don't we get into it? So the first part of the exercise is setting up the environment. I'm going to be showing you with an LPAR that's already created, which if you're an IODF system, there's a little bit of work that you need to do with that, as you know. DPM system, not so difficult. You can just create a new LPAR on the fly. The setup for the ZVM system is going to be provided by this project called ZVM Express System Installation. And if you're on the W3 and you want some more information about ESI, then you can go to our publisher page, which is this one here, if you want some more information about ESI. There is a public link that's available as well, and from here you can get access to our installation documentation and also a spreadsheet which we can use to set up and prime the setup of the system. I've done this in advance already, but all you need to do is fill in the details in this spreadsheet, and you save that in the same location as all of the files that you get with ZVM ESI, and load up the system, and away it goes. And we'll see that in just a short time. So, I've logged on to the HMC for this system, and I'm going to start up the environment, and I'm going to set a timer going. This is how optimistic I am, and we'll see how long it takes to actually go. And I've filtered the list of available partitions just to show the one that I'm going to be working with, and you can see it's showing as not activated at the moment. So I'm going to go ahead and activate that system, and I do that by selecting the activate function, and it's going to go ahead and perform that activate. It's not going to take very long. It's just allocating the CPUs and memory for this partition, getting it all ready to go. And there it is, it's a success. The next step is the load from a removable media or server function, and we're going to reach out to this FTP server that we've got set up for the software that we're going to load. And so I've entered the details there, and I'm going to press OK. That's going to it's going to reach out, it's going to check to see that that's a valid source, and it's made sure that it has. It's telling me or asking me which one I want to load. I say that one, please. I click OK. And it's going to ask me to confirm, to double check. It's going to ask me again to confirm, like a triple check. And at this point, when I press yes here, that's when I'm going to start the timer. That's when I'm going to say, right, we're ready to go. So 3, 2, 1, go. So this will take about a minute and a half, maybe, something like that. So what's happening is that there's a ZVM installation kernel, a big RAM disk is being fetched. It takes a little while depending on your network speed. 90 seconds we've found is pretty representative, but it can take longer. So while that's happening, what I'm going to do is open up the operating system messages function, because as soon as that load completes, ZVM is going to be running. It's going to start putting out messages and telling us about the status of the installation that it's been asked to do. The system isn't up yet, so the message interface isn't available. But like I said, as soon as this load completes, like I said, give it about 90 seconds maybe, messages are going to start to come out. All right, that load has completed, so we're going to go back to the Operating System Messages tab, and we can see that indeed there are messages coming out from ZVM there. And this is the ZVM installation system, so this is like a customized system that will restore and configure the system that we'll actually run and do our later work with. So the first thing it does is it configures TCP/IP, and then it will load. It labels the disk images, and then it's going to start restoring the disks. And I'm going to invoke the magic of zForum at this point and let it go in the background, but the timer's still running. So I totally forgot to mention earlier that where's the green screen? This is a ZVM system, right? We haven't touched a green screen so far, and I promise you, you will not see a green screen in this session, in this video at all. We're doing this completely without a 3270 interface. Okay, we're just at the end of the large Linux volume there, and actually we've proceeded through. We've got the last volume there, which was the spool volume, and wow, lots of messages right at the end of the volumes being restored. It's wrapping up the installation process. It's writing out the standalone bootloader. It's actually now doing an IPL of the system that's been installed underneath the installation system, just to make sure that everything IPLs correctly and it's going to work standalone exactly right. So it's done at this point. I'm not going to stop the timer yet because it's still part of the setup, right? What we do is we shut down this installation system, and then we will restart the system that we've just installed, that we've just restored. So I'm going to issue that shutdown command, and system's shutting down, and then I'll go out and restart it. Okay, system shutdown is complete. We're going to go back to the, well, we're going to close down this old load from removable media tab. We don't need that anymore. And you can see we're back to the not operating status here. We're going to press the load function. We're going to do a standard IPL. Okay, load from DASD, it's going to be quite quick, and there it is already. So I'm going to OK on that, and this now is the messages that are coming out from the system that we just restored, that we've just IPL'd. So you might have seen RACF messages there, file pool servers, system SSL servers. We've got the ZVM LDAP server, which we use when we configure the OpenShift cluster and things like that. A bunch of other user ideas here as well. So there's one user ID on here that's particularly interesting, and that's our Linux system. So the Linux virtual machine that we have here, it's got a weird name, that doesn't matter, but that's the system that is going to be hosting, or that does host, all of the user interface and web interface that we've developed for doing the automation of OpenShift and things like that. Like I said, clock's still running. I'm not going to pause it. I want to actually, give you a little bit of a look around before I actually get in and do the OpenShift installation. Alrighty, so I've jumped back to the browser here. We've loaded up our ZVM system. The Linux guest has IPL'd and we're ready to go. So I'm just going to paste in here. Yep, that's the URL that I saved from earlier, but trust me, this is not a system that I saved from earlier. This is the one that we just finished the installation of. So this is our running system, and this is the interface from our ZVM ESI system. There's some help tabs that you can use there to help you get familiar with the system. And but I'm just going to go straight in because I'm working against the clock here. So I'm going to go to OpenShift Container Platform. So here we can choose the version of OpenShift. Yeah, I know, I've got to bring it up to date a little bit, but this will be modularized, so you'll be able to select exactly the version that you want from what's available. And the installation is actually kicked off by getting what's called a pull secret from Red Hat. So I'm going to show you doing that. We go to the Red Hat OpenShift site here, and of course not tempting fate at all by doing this, recording a video, right? Who would have thought? So actually I don't, yeah. Okay, so I'm going to log on. Okay, here's me logging on to Red Hat. It's going to show me my pull secret, or at least it's going to give me the option to get access to my pull secret. Okay, so I get two choices. I can either download it to a file or I can just copy it to the clipboard. I'm going to do the second option. I'm just going to copy it to the clipboard. So I get a little note there that it's copied. I come back here to the web interface here, and I'm going to paste the pull secret. So Control V, and it turns green, which means that the system has accepted the pull secret that I've entered. It considers it's valid. It's sent it off to the automation in the back end here, and the build of our OpenShift cluster has already started. So we're just under 21 minutes in, and unfortunately we're really going to have to invoke the magic of the zForum here because this can take quite a while. So we're just going to go to this log here, and this is where we would watch some of the action taking place. We can see that there's a lot of work that's going on in the background there. We've set up our ignition configurations for the OpenShift installation. We've logged on the virtual machines, created and logged on the virtual machines that are going to be running the OpenShift container platform instances, the nodes, and well, now it's, like I said, magic of zForum. We'll come back in a little while. Right, so it's progressed some. The bootstrap of the cluster has completed, which means the bootstrap node has done its job it's got the masters running, and we can see in the log here that we've actually done some of the automation that we've built into ESI to just help the cluster build progress a little easier. One of the things that we do is once we're finished with the bootstrap node, we signal it to shut down and we give it some time to shut down, and then we rename that and repurpose it as a third compute node, and that's in the log there now. The other thing that we do is we start up a task that takes care of the approval of the certificate signing requests that come out when the compute nodes start up and they attempt to join the cluster. So that usually is a manual process. You need to be watching for certificate requests and approve them when they come in, but we've automated that. Okay, so the state that the cluster's in at the moment is what's known as install complete, where, as I mentioned before, the bootstrap is finished, the control plane nodes have started, they've been built, and now it's just the compute nodes that need to be built. So that's the state that we're at the moment. The installation is paused at that point. Well, the installation is continuing. Our script is paused, waiting for that installation complete to be signaled. Okay, I've logged on to the Linux guest that's driving the automation and issued some OpenShift commands. The cluster is almost complete. Just the authentication cluster operator that's left to install to get into a ready state, and it always seems to take the longest. You know, we still might squeak it in under the hour. I'm confident. I'm confident. It's looking all right. All right, success. And the last part of the automation is the last final steps that we do with ZVM ESI, just to tidy things up, set the default ingress certificate for the cluster and things like that. And at this point, it's done with 10 seconds to spare. Nice. I like it when a plan comes together. So the cluster is built and it's configured according to what we do with ZVM ESI. So let's do the next step. Let's just log on to the cluster and verify that it's working. Okay, so we're going to log on to the cluster now. The first step is that we've got some default user IDs and we're going to reset the password for the first one. So I'm going to roll to the top here. We're going to go to Administration, Self-Service Password. Okay, so we've got a change password utility that we've built in, and I'm going to put in the first of the default user IDs that we have, and I'm going to specify our default password, and then no, I can't use that one, can I? Yes, I actually can. All right, so I'm going to let it save that password, and I'm going to send that, and my password has been changed. That's actually a RACF password in the background. So open up a new tab, and I'm going to access the console. Again, that's URL is buffered because I did some testing earlier. So I'm going to access the console. I have a padlock, no security warnings or anything like that. That's part of the automation that we do with ZVM ESI to get it to present a nice certificate. And we've got the choice here. We can use the default kubeadmin user ID and password, or we can use LDAP, right? This is our LDAP facility that we've set up. And that's the password that I just reset. So here's the username and password that I've just saved into 1Password. And here I am logging on to this brand new OpenShift cluster that we've just set up. So it can be super easy, right? This is, like I said, it was just under the hour. We just made it in under the hour, starting from a bare LPAR with nothing in it through to a running OpenShift cluster that's ready for workload. The alert here is, we're still, the cluster is built and installed, but there's some little upgrade tasks, some circulating new versions of things through the cluster. So that's an okay thing given that it's a brand new cluster and it's still just finishing off getting itself set up. All right, so there you have it. From a bare LPAR to a running ZVM system, fully loaded with system management, performance management, all the tools associated, to then an OpenShift container platform cluster on top of that in just under an hour. So, and they said it couldn't be done. All right, so I hope you're enjoying zForum so far, and I hope you continue to do so. Obviously, we've got some fantastic content for you for the rest of the day. So definitely, if there's any questions, reach out to the folks who are there with you on site, or get in contact with me as well. My name's Vic Cross, and yeah, enjoy the rest of zForum.